basically followed the announcement by that tantalum miner, the Talison Minerals Company, where they wanted to double the tantalum price. But that was in June 2008. That was in the worst, hopefully, the worst economic crisis of your and my lifetime. So at any rate, they were spectacularly unsuccessful in doubling the tantalum price. So the tantalum contract price in the Western world in 2008 was about $60 per pound. How do I know that? Because our chairman of the board signed that contract. So in 2008, that contract was set to expire in December of that year. That miner, Talison Minerals, said in June to its industry, to its customers, the H.C. Stark Corporation, the Cabot Corporation out of Boston, they said, listen, we've gone underground, we're seeing lower grades in our deposit and lower recovery rates as well, which is completely typical, and of course then higher costs. So we need to take the tantalum price to $100 a pound. And they were absolutely unsuccessful. So that's why they closed down their operation in December 2008. That closure was followed in April 2009 by the closure of the Tantalum Mining Company of Canada in Manitoba. That also is a pegmatite deposit. And it even has another set of problem, which is typical in pegmatite-hosted tantalum deposits, which is the nugget effect. And it's not like a gold nugget effect, per se. It's more like you will have high-grade pockets of tantalum, and then you will have nothing. So there is basically a complete lack of homogeneity, whereas, contrasting the pegmatite with the carbonatite typically, and we have this, we have a high degree of homogeneity in our deposit. So there are two very different host rock types out there. And so when anyone says Commerce Resources a deposit is low grade, it won't go into production, it's not going to be economic, I would say that person absolutely doesn't understand the two main geological ore bodies that tantalum is found in. Carbonatite, pegmatite. Sure, the pegmatite you can have an economic deposit. Can you have an economic carbonatite? Absolutely. And in fact, right now, the only tantalum producing a mine in the Western world right now is a carbonatite, and that is in Brazil. So, anyways, so to settle the score on that, and then the third tantalum mine that closed down was the Noventa operation, which again is a pegmatite, kind of a surface deposit in Mozambique. So it was not slackening tantalum demand that closed any of those three miners. It was basically that in the case of Tanco, they ran out of minerals. In the case of Noventa, they needed to raise extra capital to take their operation underground. In the case of Talison, the largest of all of those, it was because they were uneconomic at the current market price, and they were unsuccessful in basically doubling the tantalum price. So that, I just wanted to set the score on those issues for you.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. You do sound very convincing, Chris.
I hate to say it, but, I've been in this job for 6 years now. I've been a shareholder for 11 years. And, to be honest, we know everything about tantalum. So, I mean, part of it, and I'll tell you the truth, the world's largest tantalum miner, the Australian company I just mentioned, Talison Minerals, their former owners, which were the sons of Gwalia, 10 years ago, they sent a representative from that company to Vancouver to meet with us to say, give up. Don't try. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time and think that you can break into our sweet little deal. Now, we're just the kind of Canadian guys, when somebody tells you, to stop working on a project because, it doesn't have value, what did that tell you? It tells you it probably has more value than you even thought.
Yeah.
So we basically, in the year 2000, redoubled our efforts to put this project into production because we realized by that visit from Australia that we were potentially onto something much bigger than we even knew at that time. So then we joined the International Tantalum Association, and at a certain point, we started receiving advice from these guys in Australia. So we're actually very friendly with them right now.
No, that's good. Yeah. Well, but still, if you're right, and we do have a significant rise in the price of tantalum, let's say in December. Now, that would still mean that Talisman could get back online then. And now I'm not talking about them creating this price rise. I'm talking about the demand picking up as a result of stockpiles going down.
That is all true. That is all true, and that is all.
They could come back online with that still. Now,
Taliesin most likely will absolutely come online, but Taliesin will only come online if they are able to, which is to say they need to secure at least $100 a pound tantalum concentrate price, up from the $60 per pound, which was the contract price in 2008. So most likely the stockpiles will be run down in the Western world in the next 6 months or so. The tantalum price will most likely go from $60 a pound to $100 per pound, and most likely Taliesin Minerals will go back into operation. Now, when I said that we're very friendly with Taliesin Minerals, I mean it. We had dinner with their representative about 6 weeks ago in Vancouver. Now, the truth of the matter is that Taliesin is only intending to go back into about 50% operation if all of those other things happen. So the tantalum price needs to go to $100 per pound. I think that is very likely. Second, when Taliesin goes back into operation, they will only go back into about a production of around 700,000 pounds per year. So that will still leave a shortfall from them alone of about 700,000 pounds. That is, if demand hasn't changed. But now, on the demand side, I can tell you that demand has picked up significantly. Now, part of it, to understand tantalum, is to understand that there was an issue in the tantalum industry at around the time of the dot-com. And some of the people that some of your subscribers may see a significant spike in the tantalum price in and around the dot-com. That was not actually real. It was really an example of some people in the industry price gouging their own customers. Now, the real tantalum concentrate price between the Sons of Gwalia, between the main tantalum miner in Australia, and between the processors, there was no price spike. They're locked into like a 3-5-year contract at a fixed price with a little percentage increase per annum. Now, because of the dot-com and because of the increase in demand, some people took the opportunity to price gouge their customers. And so you have the perception of a significant price spike. And of course, for the people that ended up paying more money for it, yes, that price spike was real. But in terms of the way the tantalum industry, the supply chain worked, there really was no price spike. Now, part of it, to understand that, is also to understand that then when people realized that they had been gouged, there was a lot of animosity, a lot of enmity in the industry to those people that had done the price gouging. Now, that did two separate things. The first one is that a lot of people tried to design tantalum out. That they were absolutely unsuccessful in. So in the fall of 2005, at the International Tantalum Association meeting, everyone concluded that tantalum and its unique set of properties means that it is basically irreplaceable in all of those applications, especially electronics, because tantalum has the highest capacitance. So essentially all of the electronics since 1984 have been based upon using tantalum capacitors. You can't go back. If you're talking about, the 4th generation iPhone or the 1st generation iPhone, if you're talking about an iPod, an iPad, you cannot go back and make those now with aluminum and ceramic capacitors or niobium capacitors and have the same functionality, the same multiplicity of functions, and the same size. It cannot be done. You need tantalum. Intel cannot do without tantalum. Every single processor that Intel makes is chock-a-block with tantalum, and there's no way that they can go back to another material. So in the fall of 2005, that was concluded. The second thing that happened from that price gouging incident was basically everyone who makes tantalum products or makes products that contain tantalum capacitors, all of those people decided, I'm not going to let this happen to me again, so I am going to stockpile material. So when the world's largest tantalum miner closed down in December 2008, I got a call from basically the world's largest tantalum products manufacturer out of Britain, and he said, what is going on? Me and my customers are freaking out. And I said to him, well, how much of a stockpile do you have? And he says, well, we probably have about 2 years of a stockpile. And I said, well, we're probably